Ladies and gentlemen, what happened inside that conference room in Riyadh will send shockwaves through the global financial system. A moment so powerful, so unprecedented, the international business leaders were literally standing in applause. Now, the mainstream media doesn't want this getting out because what President Trump just accomplished destroys decades of their carefully crafted narratives. Tom McCullough reported on these developments from the White House earlier today, and when you see what unfolded in that room, you'll understand why the global elite are in absolute panic mode, so hold on to your seats. And speaking of transformative moments, just like President Trump is reshaping global investment, there's a revolutionary breakthrough transforming thousands of lives right here at home. I'm talking about a collagen formula so powerful, it's making people look decades younger. This isn't just another supplement. It is the same formula being used by those elite investment bankers we just told you about. They're paying thousands for it, but you can get it for a fraction of the cost. Visit healthwithgary.com and get 51% off during our special broadcast offer. Remember, this deal will not last long. Now let's jump into the historic speech in Saudi Arabia, shattering the globalist narrative, standing tall with the Crown Prince Mohammed bin MBS, I'll call him MBS. He promised no Iranian nukes while unveiling his Mideast master plan. 80 years of friendship renewed as a $142 million defense deal has been secured. The deep state hates America First diplomacy. Let's check in with Tom at the White House.
Blaring as he... Hey guys, this is Tom McCullough reporting from the White House with the Next News Network. And guys, today we're diving into President Trump's historic visit to Saudi Arabia, where he's showing the world what real leadership looks like. He's at the Saudi U.S. Investment Forum in Riyadh, sealing massive deals and standing tall for America. So we're going to go ahead and dive right into it. First, let's talk about the moment where Trump arrived at the forum. He walked in side by side with the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, marking a huge $600 billion investment from Saudi Arabia into the United States. And this is a big win for American jobs and our economy. Let's go ahead and check out this clip.
Please welcome His Royal Highness Prince Mohammed bin Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, Crown Prince and Prime Minister, and the 45th and 47th President of the United States of America, Mr. Donald Trump.
Now, when Trump took the stage, he did it true Trump American style. The crowd heard "God bless the USA" blaring as he stepped up to speak. And that's the kind of patriotism we need, and Trump delivers every single time. Let's go ahead and check this out. It's iconic.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And
I want to point out something that's interesting that, we're listening to God Bless the USA. and everybody there is being forced to listen to that song. You know, we heard that song a million times on the campaign trail, and now Donald Trump is bringing it to Saudi Arabia. Another remarkable win for Donald Trump on the world stage and for America. God bless the USA. In a room full of Saudi princes and billionaires and corporate CEOs and whatever they have over there. A remarkable moment nonetheless. But Donald Trump playing that song, Lee Greenwood's God Bless the USA.
Still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I got this land.
Is making the bond even stronger. And during his speech, Trump celebrated. During his speech, Trump celebrated the long-standing friendship between the U.S. and Saudi Arabia. He talked about over 80 years of partnership and how this visit is making the bond even stronger. And this is what a leader does. He builds bridges. Check this out.
With this historic state visit, we celebrate more than 80 years of close partnership between the United States and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Ever since President Franklin Roosevelt met with King Solomon's father, King Abdul Aziz, aboard the USS Quincy in 1945, the U.S.-Saudi relationship has been a bedrock of security and prosperity. Today we reaffirm this important bond, and we take the next steps to make our relationship closer, stronger, and more powerful than ever before.
Trump also looked back at his first term, reminding everyone of his vision for the Middle East. 8 years ago, he stood in that same room pushing for a future where the region would kick out terrorism, rise as a modern, successful power, and guess what? He's making it happen. Let's go ahead and check this out.
Exactly 8 years ago this month, I stood in this very room and look forward to a future in which the nations of this region would drive the forces of terrorism and extremism, drive them right out of existence, and take your place among the proudest, most prosperous, most successful nations anywhere in the world as leaders of a modern and rising Middle East. So exciting, so exciting.
So let's talk about the deals, because this is where Trump shines. Saudi Arabia is buying $142 million in American-made military gear, and that's just the start. There's also a multi-billion-dollar deals with companies like Amazon, Oracle, and Uber. Trump's bringing jobs and money to America. Check this out.
In addition to purchases of $142 billion of American-made military equipment by our great Saudi partners, the largest ever, this week there are multi-billion-dollar commercial deals with Amazon, Oracle, AMD. They're all here. Uber, Qualcomm, Johnson & Johnson, and many, many more. So I want to congratulate everybody. So many great business executives, many of you, most of you I know. And they're coming in, you know, about a month ago. They weren't that happy when they saw me. And now they're saying, sir, you're doing a great job. Thank you very much. It's amazing what a rising market will do. Oh, it's going to get a lot higher. In fact, I told people 5 weeks ago, this is a great time to buy. I got criticized for that. Now they don't criticize me anymore. People should have listened. But it's going to go a lot higher. You're going to see, we've never had anything like this happen. It's an explosion of investment and jobs, and great companies are coming in. Never seen anything like it. There's no better place to make a future or make a fortune, or do anything, frankly, than what we have in the United States of America under a certain President Donald J. Trump.
Now, Trump did not hold back on Iran. He made it clear that America will never let Iran threaten our allies with terrorism or nuclear attacks. He's giving them a chance for a better future, but the clock is ticking. Watch Trump show our strength.
But with that said, Iran can have a much brighter future, but will never allow America and its allies to be threatened with terrorism or nuclear attack. The choice is theirs to make. We really want them to be a successful country. We want them to be a wonderful, safe, great country. But they cannot have a nuclear weapon. This is an offer that will not last forever. The time is right now for them to choose. Right now, we don't have a lot of time to wait. Yet I'm here today not merely to condemn the past chaos of Iran's leaders, but to offer them a new path and a much better path toward a far better and more hopeful future. As I've shown repeatedly, I am willing to end past conflicts and forge new partnerships for a better and more stable world, even if our differences may be very profound, which obviously they are in the case of Iran. I have never believed in having permanent enemies. I am different than a lot of people think. I don't like permanent enemies, but sometimes you need enemies to do the job, and you have to do it right. Enemies get you motivated. In fact, some of the closest friends of the United States of America are nations we fought wars against in generations past, and now they're our friends and our allies.
Trump also laid out his no-nonsense approach to foreign policy. He said it's not America's job to judge other leaders, that's God's work. His job, defend America and push for stability and peace. And that's the kind of clarity we've been missing for years. Watch this.
In recent years, far too many American presidents have been afflicted with the notion that it's our job to look into the souls of foreign leaders and use U.S. policy to dispense justice for their sins. They loved using our very powerful military, and now it's really the most powerful it's ever been. We just are getting a budget approved, $1 trillion, highest budget we've ever had in history for military, $1 trillion. And we're getting the greatest missiles, the greatest weapons. And, you know, I hate to do it, but you have to do it because we believe in peace through strength. You have to have the strength, otherwise bad things could happen. But hopefully we'll never have to use any of those weapons. Seems to be an awfully big waste of money if you're never going to use them, but hopefully we'll never have to use them because the destructive power of some of those weapons are like nobody's seen before. I believe it is God's job to sit in judgment, my job to defend America and to promote the fundamental interest of stability, prosperity, and peace. That's what I really want to do.
Let's not forget about the action in Yemen. Trump talked about how the U.S. military launched over 1,100 strikes on the Houthis right after they attacked American ships in the Red Sea. The result, the Houthis backed down. Trump hit hard, got results, and got out. And that's how you do it. Watch this.
In recent weeks, following repeated attacks on American ships and freedom of navigation in the Red Sea, the United States military launched more than 1,100 strikes on the Houthis in Yemen. As a result, the Houthis agreed to stop. They said, we don't want this anymore. It's the first time you've heard that from them, too. They're tough. They're fighters. But just days ago, we were asked to cease targeting commercial. They were not going to be targeting commercial ships in any way, shape, or form, or anything American. And they were very happy that we stopped. But we had 52 days of thunder and lightning like they've never seen before. This was a swift, ferocious, decisive, and extremely successful use of military force. Not that we wanted to do it, but they were shooting down ships. They were shooting at you. They were shooting at Saudi Arabia. We don't want them shooting at Saudi Arabia if that's okay. So we hit them hard. We got what we came for, and then we got out.
And finally, a bold move on Syria. After talks with the Crown Prince and Turkey's President Erdogan, Trump announced he's lifting sanctions on Syria to give them a shot at a better future. And this is Trump thinking big, taking risk for peace. Let's go ahead and watch this.
Likewise, in Syria, which has seen so much misery and death, there is a new government that will hopefully succeed in stabilizing the country and keeping peace. That's what we want to see in Syria. They've had their share of travesty, war, killing, many years. That's why my administration has already taken the first steps toward restoring normal relations between the United States and Syria for the first time in more than a decade. And I'm very pleased to announce that Secretary Marco Rubio will be meeting with the new Syrian foreign minister in Turkey later this week. And very importantly, after discussing the situation in Syria with the Crown Prince, your Crown Prince, and also with President Erdogan of Turkey, who called me the other day and asked for a very similar thing, among others, and friends of mine, people that I have a lot of respect for in the Middle East. I will be ordering the cessation of sanctions against Syria in order to give them a chance at greatness.
And guys, Trump's speech wasn't just talk, it was action. He secured $600 billion in investments, pushed for peace, and stood firm against threats. And that's the leadership America needs, and Trump's delivering. Again, this is Tom reporting with the Next News Network. God bless. Hey, guys.
Thank you for that report inside the dry press room in a rainy Washington, D.C. But I want to do some compare and contrast real quick. Do you guys see this? First of all, yes, they actually brought in a McDonald's trailer. Now, of course, that was Donald Trump in the window there was added by somebody. But the trailer is real, as 100% fact. But take a look. Here is when Biden went to Saudi Arabia. All he got was a fist bump, and the Crown Prince didn't even bother to show up to meet him at Air Force One. On the other hand, President Trump gets a king's welcome. Look at this. Here's more. This is when Biden met. Biden went to Saudi Arabia. Yeah, look at that. Pretty sparse show up. But here's the difference. Look at that. No, that's not AI. That's not Photoshop. That's real. Okay? Biden, Trump. Okay? You see the respect there? Yeah. And then we got this also. Some remarks on Biden's trip. He ridiculed and insulted the Crown Prince. Here's some reaction.
To Joe Biden. I want to start with a very stark contrast between President Trump's reception in Saudi Arabia compared to Joe Biden. Joe Biden is someone who the Democrats like to say had decades of foreign policy experience, a statesman, and President Trump was a rabble-rouser, came from the outside, a businessman who doesn't know anything about foreign policy, and yet the Saudi Crown Prince seemed to have an even warmer reception for President Trump than Biden. Would you agree?
Absolutely. And I mean, it's inexcusable for someone like President Biden to miss being a good diplomat. He was extremely horrible. And Trump had a lot of affinity with the Crown Prince, even in his first term. And he's just continuing to double down on that. The Saudis are very, and I think the region, so his other stops in Qatar, as well as the UAE, I think you'll see similar reaction. But on Biden's first trip, he ridiculed and insulted the Crown Prince to the king in front of him. And I think that loss of face meant that the Biden administration, no matter how hard they would have tried or as much as Saudi Arabia would have benefited, there was only going to be so far that we could have actually taken things forward. That all is behind us now, thankfully.
Thank God. Yeah, for sure. Here is more reaction to President Trump's visit to Saudi Arabia on Fox Business.
Well, I was in Saudi just a couple of weeks ago. Saudi Arabia is one of the most important players in the Middle East, and Saudi Arabia seeks to move from being just a regional power to being a global power through the reforms from Crown Prince and Prime Minister MBS. But there's an amazing moment here in history as we think about this is really the first state visit that President Trump has taken since he took office. Remember, it was the first state visit he took when he was president during his last administration. So it sends a strong message, the important role that Saudi Arabia plays, not only in the region, but in the world. There is another chapter written building on the Abraham Accords, one of the great breakthroughs of peace in the Middle East, led by President Trump. There is a moment at some point when Saudi Arabia could renormalize their relationship with Israel, a Jewish state of Israel. That will come sometime in the future. But at the moment, there's tremendous deals to be had. They're talking about at least $600 billion of investment. That may even grow larger. We'll see what President Trump comes out with. But he is leading. It is peace through strength. The Middle East respects a strong leader. They exploit weakness like they did with Joe Biden. They respect President Trump. I heard that message 2 weeks ago when I was in Saudi Arabia. I think you're going to see a very successful visit by President Trump and his team as they go through the Middle East. Well, I was in.
And you're seeing history unfold. So what happened at that investment forum? It goes far beyond typical international business dealings. We're witnessing a complete realignment of global economic power. So consider the implications. American technology companies gaining unprecedented access to Middle Eastern markets. Massive infrastructure projects created right here at home, new jobs, and a new era of energy cooperation that could revolutionize both economies. But here's what every American should be asking. Why are financial elites and their media allies working overtime to minimize these achievements? What are they afraid that these deals might reveal about their own failed economic policies? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We want to hear your perspective on this historic shift. Make sure you visit Next News Network's shop at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com to show your support for real news.